Morning, this is Dr. S Kanitha, heading the Department of Biochemistry, JJ College of Arts and Science, Autonomous, Pudukkottai, Tamil Nadu. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about glycolysis. The Greek word glycos means sweet or sugar and lysis means dissolution. Glycolysis is the first step in the breaking down of glucose to extract energy for cellular metabolism. Glycolysis consists of an energy requiring phase followed by an energy releasing phase. Glycolysis is a series of reactions which extracts energy from glucose by splitting it into two 3-carbon molecules called pyruvates. Glycolysis is also known as Embden-Meyerhof pathway. In organisms that perform cellular respiration, glycolysis is the first stage of this process. However, glycolysis doesn't require oxygen, and many anaerobic organisms which do not use oxygen also have this pathway. Glycolysis takes place inside the cytoplasm of a cell, and it can be broken down into three main phases called energy requiring phase, splitting phase, and energy releasing phase. Energy requiring phase of glycolysis involves the glucose molecule which undergoes rearrangement and two phosphate groups are attached to it. The phosphate groups make the modified sugar now which is known as fructose 1,6 bisphosphate, which is unstable, allows it to split in half and form two phosphate bearing 3-carbon sugars. In this reaction, or in this phase, as two molecules of ATPs are being used up, this phase is known as energy requiring phase. The second phase is the splitting phase, in which fructose 1,6 bisphosphate gets splitted up into two sugars, namely glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. As one sugar gets splitted up into two sugars, this phase is known as splitting phase. The final phase is nothing but the energy releasing phase. This phase is named so because here high energy molecules, namely ATP and NADH and H plus molecules are being generated. So overall, glycolysis converts one 6-carbon molecule of glucose into two 3-carbon molecules of pyruvate. The net product of these processes are two molecules of ATP and two molecules of NADH and H+. This slide shows the overall reactions involved in glycolysis. Now we are going to see each and every step in detail. In the first step, the glucose gets converted into glucose 6-phosphate. The phosphate group is being donated by ATP so that it gets converted into ADP, and this reaction is being catalyzed by the enzyme hexokinase. Glucose 6-phosphate in the second step gets isomerized to fructose 6-phosphate in the presence of the enzyme phosphoglucose isomerase. In the third step, fructose 6-phosphate gets converted into fructose 1,6 bisphosphate with the help of the enzyme phosphofructokinase. During this process, one ATP molecule gets converted into ADP. In the fourth step, fructose 1,6 bisphosphate gets splitted up into dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Dihydroxyacetone phosphate, which is being formed, is again converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. The two molecules exist in equilibrium, but the equilibrium is pulled strongly towards glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So eventually, all the dihydroxyacetone phosphate which are being formed gets converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. The glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate which is being formed in the sixth step gets converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, during which one molecule of NAD plus undergoes reduction and forms NADH and H plus. In the seventh step, 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate donates one of its phosphate groups to ADP so that it gets converted into 3-phosphoglycerate, and in this step one molecule of ATP is being generated. In the eighth step, The phosphate group which was present in the third carbon atom of phosphoglycerate gets shifted to the second carbon atom so that 3-phosphoglycerate gets converted into 2-phosphoglycerate. In the ninth step, 2-phosphoglycerate loses a molecule of water so that phosphoenol pyruvate is being formed. Phosphoenol pyruvate is an unstable molecule, so it loses its phosphate group in the final step of glycolysis. So phosphoenol pyruvate in the final step donates its phosphate group to ADP so that ADP gets converted into ATP and phosphoenol pyruvate gets converted into pyruvate, the end product of glycolysis. I hope that this video was extremely helpful for you in understanding the processes, the reactions involved in glycolysis. Thank you.